Good morning and welcome to Live in the Studio with Pentart. I'm Shannon. I'm going to be your host today, and we have a doozy. We're going to be having some fun with, let me get that off of me. There we go. Okay. We're going to be talking about the cracking paste system. Now, this system is pretty cool. It reminds me a little bit of the cracking paste, but they are different. And I'm going to tell you about that today. I do want to share this picture with you. Let's see, do I have it? No, I've got it for later. But the cracking paint is pretty cool. It does come in only a certain amount of colors, but it's a two-part system similar to all of the other Pentart Crackles, except for the one-part Crackle Medium. Now, I know there's a lot of Crackles, and it can be a little confusing, but I'm here to help alleviate some of that. So, if you can, save your questions till the end, and I will answer them. So, without any further ado, I want to kind of I'm going to share my screen, and you can see what we have here. So I have this little heart, and if you saw the reel of how I did this is just one component on here, and then I put the second component on here. And what is this? So here is cracking system 1, cracking paint system 2. Now, let me just tell you a little bit about these. I'm going to set these in the picture so you can see it, even though it is down in the bottom corner. But now, I put out a little joke last night on the Facebook page. Now, I basically asked, like, why do you think that there's a little step 1 and then a big step 2? And I got some funny answers. I'm telling you, it was very, very cute. Now, I'm going to tell you why. Because this, you only need one coat, but this, you need 2 coats. Thus, 2 to 1. Does that make sense? If you're here, you're catching me live, please go ahead and just drop your comments in. Tell me what your weather is like. It's cold here. I'm in just west of Charlotte, and it's pretty cold. All right. So with these cracks, I want to kind of just show you and compare them to you. So let's get a close up. See the cracks? Pretty good, right? But they're thin. Now, what is the difference between the cracking paste that we talked about last week and the cracking paint? Well, pretty obvious. Paste, paint. So that tells you right automatically paste is going to be what? It's going to be thicker. Paint is going to be thinner. To show you, here is from last week. This is the paste. See how thick those cracks are? And I could even get them thicker because I put them on this board. Look how deep and thick those are. And this is the thickness of the paste is based on how much you put of the second coat. But that we're not talking about. We talked about this last week. I just want to kind of give you a comparison because the cracking paint is going to be thin. And there is a reason for this. This is made mainly for furniture decor, like where you're going to want to put it on that you don't need, or you don't want those heavy cracks, where you want a smooth surface. So if you were putting it on, like I did the candlestick, I'm going to grab it real quick. The candlestick, we wouldn't want thick, heavy, paint globbed down there. We want it to be thin, so it's going to stick on to the candlestick and yet still look all old and crusty. Oh, Kathy, you're freezing in New Orleans. Woo, I bet you are. And Kathleen, good morning. I learned a lot. Oh, I'm so glad. I'm glad you tune in. Share it with friends. We're growing, and the more we can get this knowledge out there, the better it's going to be for everybody. Okay, now I want to show you, again, little, big. That's because you need one of these, and 2 coats of this. It has nothing to do with system 1, system 2. It's just coincident. Let me show you exactly what I mean. I took this little heart because I'm going to put it in here, but I went ahead and put on, whoopsies, let me get in the camera, 2 coats as opposed to 1 coat. So you can definitely see the difference here. This one is okay, but it's kind of transparent. You can see the color underneath. This one, you don't. You see more cracks. So that is the reason the cracking paints are bigger than the component 1. Now, not to confuse you, but I do need to show you this. All component 1s are the same. Cracking paint system 1, oops, cracking primer universal. Let's see, do I have anyone over here? This one, fine line, component 1, they are all the same. Hey Tina, welcome. They're all the same, all the same. So if you are using fine line crackle and you run out of your, grab your primer, your cracking primer universal, grab this. Any component 1 will work. So that is a very important tip. Real quick, what I want to do is I want to take the white. I want to finish off my heart because after I get done with this demo, I want to kind of decorate it and put some stuff on it. I even have a little key just to kind of give you an idea, but I need to finish this. I left it unfinished because I did want to show you the difference between 2 coats of the cracking paint as opposed to 1 coat. It makes a difference. So let's go ahead and finish this off real quick. You might think, oh no, I can't put 2 coats on because it's not going to crack. Trust me, it's going to crack. We'll let that dry because that's exactly what I put on here. 2 coats. And there is a reel on our Facebook page that a quick demo on how I did this. But it's fun, right? All right, now what I need to do, I'm going to zoom out a little bit. Zoom, zoom, zoom. So you know how I like to show you step by step by step so you can kind of get an idea? Here is a fun little, vintage inspired vase that I have. I've had it forever and it's just been sitting on my shelf. I've never used it. It's just been sitting there. You know what? And I'm not a really big fan of the look. So what I decided to do was this morning I put on 1 coat of step 1 cracking paint system. Just the primer. I just put the primer on. It says cracking paint system step 1. It just means it's the cracking primer. Okay, so the next step would be, I would just take my paint, because this is dry. Definitely want to make sure it's dry. It goes on white and dries clear. And after it's dry, you just simply brush on your paint. Now you'll notice how it's a lot thinner than the cracking paste. And it's meant to be because this is a paint. Could I put the cracking paste on here? Absolutely. Ooh, maybe since I have it out, maybe I'll put some over here. Ooh. I always like to test. I mean, I know it's going to work, but I just want to show you guys. So this is just paint coat 1. I'll put it on the second coat. All right, while I'm doing this, I'm going to read some comments. Okay, it's 28 with the wind chill, making it feel like 6. Oh my goodness, Kathleen, I hope you're staying inside. That's cold. And just 10 miles outside of Boston. Oh my goodness, that is cold. All right. And basically, the paint system was made. It's made for like furniture, decor, small projects. You can sand it if you want. We're just putting on 1 coat just so we can show you the steps. So what we did was I went ahead before, hey Gingy, put on the primer. Hey Carol, I'm glad you guys are tuning in. So I'm going to give a recap real quick. I put on the primer, which is the same as any other cracking primer. They're all the same. Component ones, all the same. Now I just put on the first layer of the cracking paint, and I chose the color white. It comes in about 6 or 8 different colors. So I'm using white because white it's just a beautiful color. Here's one coat. It doesn't have really good coverage, does it? You can still see everything. Even if I were to take my time, it still wouldn't be complete coverage. So now when I flip this over, let me show you this. This I did this morning. This is the result of one coat, dried. Now you can see a big difference between cracking paint as apart from cracking paste. You can see how thick the paste is compared to the paint. So there is a huge difference. Now what I need to do is I'm going to add my second coat. Because this, you should really put on a second coat. You can see down here that I didn't get quite the good coverage that typically I would want on a piece, especially if I was doing a piece of furniture or maybe a frame that I'm trying to antique. So I'm just going to put it on. And you might think that putting on this second coat of paint is going to get rid of my cracks, but it's not. It will still crack. And I'm hoping by the time the end of this video, we are going to actually see it happen. Okay, let me get down here. Just the base. So we're already right here, you can kind of see this was one coat. Not the best coverage. Now 2 coats is really going to give it some really nice coverage. The kind of coverage you want. Oops, what is that? Got a little bit of a mess here. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to put this aside. And we're going to work on the pink heart while this dries. And if it's not quite dry, we'll use the heat gun. And I totally could use a heat gun, but I'm going to let it try to dry a little natural. And I can already see some of the cracks are starting to come through. But we're just going to set that off right here to the side. We'll leave it kind of still in the frame so you can see it. This one isn't quite dry yet. This is the heart that we started in the beginning. If you didn't see it, let me catch you up. Hi, Jerry. Welcome. This has 2 coats I did this morning that was dried. On this side, it only had 1 coat, and so I put the second coat on so you can kind of see. So we're going to set that there so it can continue to dry. What we're going to do, whoops, I made a mess. I got some on there. We're going to decorate this real quick. You can decorate it several ways. What I'm going to do is I could totally fill this all with antique paste. I could use pigment powders, but I'm just going to use the Umbra, and I'm just going to I want to shadow the edges. I feel like it's just not bright enough. Let me zoom in a little bit. All right. So I'm just going to start in the corners. Give it some of the age look. That brush is not a good one. Let me get a different one. Okay. Let's try one more brush. There we go. One was crusty, and then one was too soft, and this was just right. So what I'm doing here is I'm just kind of filling the edge. I'm making it look antique by the edges. Now I'm just going to kind of bring it in a little bit, not too much, just to smooth out that line. I don't like that line. There we go. Ta-da! So now it looks a little bit antique-y. All right, let me give you an update on this. You can really see you Goldilocks brushes, exactly. Good morning, Rose. Hey, Del Rey. Oh, I like that name. Okay, so you can see the cracks more and more coming. So we're going to go ahead and force this. Let me grab my heat gun. I got the Mac Daddy out today, but ooh, look at that. Can you see it? Look at that appear. Whoa. It does get a little hot. Let me zoom in this way, just so you can see. Now look at that. Isn't that amazing? And there's also something else I want to show you about this. I want to show you, let me zoom in really close. Do you see the pattern here? This side is, let's say, all going up and down. And then this side is kind of, looks a little bit more authentic, more like real crackle, like it was really aged. The difference between these two is this one I brushed up and down. This one I went in all different directions. You guys saw me do this one. So I like this look better. So if you ever want to control the way your cracks go, again, it doesn't have anything to do with what's underneath. It has to do with the top layer. We talked about that on, I think, Classic Crackle or Fine Line, one of them. So what we're going to do is we're going to probably put that in there like that. What do you think? I should probably antique this a little bit, right? Right. Good morning, Luann. Kathleen wants to know, did I seal it before applying the Umbra? I did not. The paint is a little bit different than the paste. The paste might crack off. The paint's going to be fine. What I was going to do is I was going to do everything together, and then I was going to seal it at once it was all dry. And really, I was going to use the pouring glaze because this gives it a beautiful shine. But, oops, wrong one. So I'm going to go ahead and I'm just going to accentuate the edges here. Let me get sure I'm in the camera here. Just putting a little bit on the edge, kind of like I'm treating the antique paste kind of like the wax paste, because technically the wax paste goes on the peaks and the antique paste goes in the valley, but I'm just kind of highlighting a little bit. Look at that. So let's see, where are my baby wipes? Now it's a little brown for me, so I'm going to take a baby wipe. Good morning, Kelly. Welcome. And I'm just going to wipe away a little bit. Now, if I would have sealed it first, I wouldn't have to wipe it back because it doesn't bite as hard. Ooh, this is going to be a good example. I want to show you something. So again, with the lines of the cracks, this one opposed to this one, I love this look so much better. So much better. Okay. So I'm going to take my heavy body gel, and this stuff is my favorite. If you haven't tried the heavy body gel, you don't know what you're missing. Just going to swoosh them on the back here. Put that right like that. And just for fun, I have a couple of doodads that we're going to put on here. Just some fun flowers. I'm going to put the key on here. And we're just going to bend it around here. Let's see what that looks like. What's nice is that, oops, you know what I should have done? I should let the key hang down a little bit. Let me hang that down a little bit. And then I'm just going to twist this up. So there's the key, and now we're going to put one more flower on. And I'm not gluing this down yet. I'm just kind of giving you an idea of what I might do. But see, so look how cute that is. You like the vertical lines? Okay. I like these ones. But you know what? To each his own. Now what I'm going to do is I'm going to seal this. You can seal it. You don't have to. I'm going to seal it with, whoopsies, the pouring glaze. The antique paste might not be dry, so I might smear it a little bit, but it's going to give it just a beautiful shine. Look at that. Oh, beautiful. Now the pouring glaze you can either brush on thin coats, like if you need it to dry fast, just brush on some thin coats. If you can let it sit overnight, then you can just pour it in. But I can pour this in and it'll make it have like a layer of really pretty, real pretty look. Ta-da! That was fast and easy, cute. All right, let's put that to the side. Now let's go back to here. We have 2 coats on, and you can see that the second step is cracking. The second layer of paint to put on is cracking. This is the first coat. See, it's nice, but you can see what's underneath, which is, if you want that look, it's absolutely, you can do that. But if you want more coverage, then you're going to want to put 2 coats on here. Now, I'm going to zoom in on the cracks, and then we're going to heat it. Okay, so these are the cracks. So over here is still working. You can tell it's a little bit wet. So let's get the heat gun. They just magically appear. Look at that. Amazing. Amazing. Now, you might think, hey, Patricia. Oh, yeah, I am too. I am so excited. I've never done a whatnot before, but I'm going to have fun. Okay, so look at that. Look how beautiful those cracks are. I do want to say this is not the same look as your Crackle Medium. The Crackle Medium is the 1-part-1 that takes 2 layers of paint. You put 1 layer of paint, the crackle, and another layer of paint. That spreads out the crackle. That's a totally different look. This is a look that, this one to me looks like it's more authentic. So here I can decorate. I can have a lot of fun decorating in this, especially if you're into the old look. Like I can antique it with antiquing wax. I can use the Rust Effects kit. I can use there's so much that I can do, but that's for a whole nother lesson. I don't want to confuse you all. So let's see. Let's get me. I'm going to go side by side with this. There I am. Okay. So basically, let's put this. There we go. This system, I like it. I don't use it enough, but because there's so many different crackles out here and they all are so different, I think what I really need to do is I need to do a form or like a chart with all the crackles, what they do, what you need to seal. So like a quick reference guide. I think I actually have one in the playbook, but I don't have the cracking system paint on there. So I'll have to add it and then I'll have to get it uploaded so you guys can have it. But all right, we got a question here. Let's see. Could you put an IOD paint inlay over the cracking paint system using it? Absolutely. Absolutely. Yes. I did this here. This is, I put it over the cracking paste. But yeah, you can do it. Actually, you guys want to stick around and try it? Because I still have to put 1 more coat on here. Ooh. Yeah, comparison chart. Yes, that's what I'm talking about. So if you guys want to bear with me for a second, I'm going to get up. I'm going to grab a paint inlay. Let's do it. Why not, right? All right. I got all my paint inlays right over here. I'm just going to grab, let's see. Here we go. Now, if you don't know what a paint inlay is, I'm sorry, we're not going to talk about what it is. We're just going to, we're going to go with, just if it can be done. And then you're going to have to tune into an IOD retailer or a video. I do have lots of videos on my own private channel, but we're here to talk about Pentart. So we're going to do, does that one fit? No, that was too big. Let's do a different one. Let's do, ooh, I like this one. Let's see. All right, I guess real quick, paint inlays, it's actually paint on a piece of paper, so it's like a tattoo that you put on furniture. But let's just see. I would have to say yes, it will work. So let's do it. Where's my brush? Here we go. Now it's not quite, the paint is not quite as wet as, oh, my brush is a little, not quite as wet as normal paint, but that's okay. Still going to put a nice layer on. I remember doing lots of tutorials with paint inlays, and I always said the thicker the paint, the better the impression. I did a whole paint inlay on a table with Crackle. I did, what was the big one with the cows and stuff on it? It came out so pretty. I did it right over the Crackle with the white paint. It was really beautiful. But I'm sure it's going to work here. So let's go ahead and stick this on. Now the only thing I need to do is I need to grab water, because the paint inlay is going to need, oops, water. Water, water, water. I missed some of the edges here because I wasn't quite, oops. Sure how big it was. All right, let me get some water real quick. Oh, here's some right here. And a rag. Let me get a white one. I'm just going to push this down. Very minimal water. And you know what? I don't even think I have it centered on here, but you know what? That's okay. We're doing this for fun. All right. Now we're supposed to wait, but what, you know what we might do is we might just go ahead and speed the process up with a little bit of, whoopsies, trying to clean my brush, with a little bit of heat. I'm just putting my brushes in some water real quick. Okay. Look how pretty that is. Yes, I do have a comparison. I do have one made. I've had it on Pick and Boots page for a while, but I'm going to update it with the cracking paint system, and then I'll get it out to everybody. All right, let me dry it. All right, so what we essentially did was we put paint inlay in, and it's going to seep down into the other paint. Now we need to wet this again, because we need the paper to release the paint inlay into the paint itself. I need my mister bottle, but I don't have it handy, so I'm just going to do it this way. Reactivating the paint off of the inlay. Oops. Now, I'm going to let it sit for just a second to make sure that okay, I took a peek. Now, normally, this is a very fast job, so bear with me if it's not perfect, but oh, look at that. And see, this side is better, more imprint than this side. And generally that has to do with, I'm going to tell you this is my own personal opinion. This side I had thicker paint. This side was a little bit thinner. I know whenever I want a really good image, thick paint. But this is perfect. This makes it look like it's old and antique. So now what I'm going to do is I'm going to heat it up, and it should activate, hopefully, that third layer of paint to crack more. Let's see. I see some, oh yeah, the cracks are coming. Might take a little bit longer because I just put a lot of water on there. Oopsies. Again, don't keep it too close. You're going to burn your project. All right. So basically, ta-da! Now, to get technical really quick, sealing a paint inlay is kind of like just like fine line crackle. You have to use a certain thing. I've discovered this a long time ago. It works perfect for me. Is if you use the solvent-based glossy varnish, you don't have, it doesn't smear. We're not going to talk about that now. That's something for your IOD retailer. But if you do use paint inlays and you just seal with the varnish, not water-based, but the solvent-based, you can brush it right on. All right. Ta-da! What do you think? Let me see if let's go back and let me see if I have some questions here. Let's see. First off, let's go back. It's real paint on a carrier sheet that goes, yep, that embeds on it. It's like a paint tattoo. Comparison shot is needed. Yes, we'll do that. Yes, it will be nice. I like this cracking system. Me too. Did you say, whoops, did you say you can sand it for more? Yes, you can sand it. Absolutely. Here, I got a little sanding thing. Whoopsies. So always sand in circles. I'm sorry, but some people go, if you sand in circles, looks a little bit more authentic. Circles. Of course, I'm using a big coarse one. That's just what I had here. But yes, you can definitely sand it. Okay. Let's go back. Agree with the transfer is better on the left. Yes, absolutely. Yes, it's so satisfying when those cracks appear. We're all crack addicts, right? Sorry. I'm on my iPad. That's not going to work. I thought Crackle did not like water. Well, Patricia, I don't know what kind. You're talking about fine line crackle. This is a different kind of crackle. I need to get that comparison chart out because there are a lot of different cracking systems, and there's really only one that doesn't like water, and that's the fine line. This is not fine line. This is cracking paint. Different. Beautiful. Love this look. Thanks. Fabulous. Okay, let me check on YouTube. YouTube. Windshield. Oh gosh. So the primer dries. Yes, the primer. It's the same primer for all the crackles. It's the component one. They're all just labeled differently to go with whatever system it is, but it's all the same thing in a jar. I wish they would just call it all the same thing. Label them all component one. Maybe we need to talk to Pentart and say no more labeling it to go with a certain thing. It should just say component one crackle. Beep. That'd be so much easier, right? All right, a list of crackle. Yes, would be awesome. Okay, and hearts. Okay, so basically, that's it. Any other questions? Yes, I think that's what I confused the two. Absolutely, Patricia. And I get it. When I first started Pentart, when I first was getting all this stuff, it was a lot. That's why we've decided here on Pentart USA that each week we're going to take one product and just kill it. Do it, show different things. And so if you guys keep showing up every week, you're going to learn about each product. The problem is sometimes they become confusing, like the fine line versus the paint system versus the classic crackle. That's why I have something called the Pentart Playbook, and I started it last year. But what I'm going to do is I'm going to start converting it over for Pentart USA, and we're going to put it up where you all can have access to it. So you'll be able to print the page. It'll tell you what it's good for, what it's not good for, pro tips. And we will have this out. We're going to start just doing, we're going to get it out to you. So just watch for it. Follow us on Pentart USA YouTube, on Facebook, on Instagram. Follow us everywhere. Okay. You be on what? Yes, I will be on Whatnot tomorrow at noon. Does the pantry have a page? Pantry. I don't know what that means, Kelly. Pantry. Sorry. Great idea. Thanks for going off the cuff. You're welcome. Anytime. I'm always game. I've got this big cabinet here. It's got all my Pentart stuff. I should probably show you it. But Pentart have a page. Yes. This is Pentart page. I bet, yeah, I'm on Pentart page, but I do have my own page, but this is Pentart. The playbook is so awesome. Yes, I worked really hard on that. I'm not done with it by any means, but I'm going to be sharing it with Pentart USA just so you all can have and learn, because it's just so much fun. I mean, look at this. Look at this crackle. And most people would not know about how to get this look unless you're actually tuning in today. So, you're welcome. I'm here. I'm going to have it for retailers, but also for the audience, and you can share it with your audience. But I just have to get them transferred over, and I have some that I haven't done yet, but I've done probably at least 40 videos. Now I just have to move them over to Pentart. So anyway, oh, Kelly, gotcha. I was wondering. So no, it's going to be with Pick and Boots. So it's on Pick and Boots page. But if you go to my page, my personal page, you'll see the link. But eventually, though, well, no, I'm not gonna say. All right, needed that, please. Yes, good. Anything else? I'm so confused by all this. Tracy, I hear you. That's why we're going to try to organize all this information for you, so you'll have a reference guide. You can go to it and say, I want this look. What do I need to use? There is so much to learn. Yes, there's so much to learn. But guess what? You know how I learned? I just would, when I'd order stuff in my store, I would just go on and order the extra stuff, and I would just learn. And did I mess up a lot? Heck yeah. But that's how I learned, and now I get to share it with you guys. Okay. Oh my gosh, yes. There's a lot. So we'll just take bite-sized chunks. The best thing, if you ever want to do a project, use a product that we haven't talked about yet, if you go on YouTube, you can probably search it and it'll probably pop up. If not, you can always DM me, and I kind of have it programmed out how we're going to do it month by month, different themes. But if you send me something, I could do like a little quick reel on how to do something. All right. Okay, we'll do. Definitely need a guide. Yes, it's coming. I promise. It's coming. All right. Other than that, you guys have a fabulous day. I'll be live again next Thursday right here on YouTube and Facebook on the Pentart USA page. All right, you guys. Any other questions? Nope. And nope. Sorry, I was checking YouTube and Facebook. All right, guys. Fabulous day.